signal now for when I'm needed. But when that light hits the sky, it's not just a call. It's a warning to them.
Yes, sir. Welcome to the Gotham Chronicles Beyond the Bat Signal. I'm your host, Domenic Iannicca. Join me as we dive into the depths of Batman's lore, dissecting the rogues gallery, and uncovering the stories of our iconic vigilante known as the Dark Knight. Thank you very much for listening and tuning in. We got a doozy for you as we are going to, we rewatched Batman 89 and celebrated 35 years, but this time I have a very special guest. But before we get into that, if you have any comments, concerns, questions, feel free to send me an email at beyondthebatsignal@gmail.com, or you can follow Beyond the Bat Signal on X/Twitter at BeyondBatSignal. And by all means, if you can kindly do, which will take a minute of your time, if you can just rate and review this show. And that is super helpful as it helps spread the word. Now, at this point forward, let's get into probably one of the most iconic Batman films, hands down, even the superhero films in that matter, Batman 89.
I'm not going to kill you. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to tell all your friends about me.
What are you?
I'm Batman.
All right, so we have a first timer here, not just on a podcast, but watching Batman 1989. And I give you, without further ado, my wife, Victoria. Welcome.
Hey.
She's got a big glowing smile. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling nervous. Is it wrong to say a little bit turned on? Because seeing my husband in his elements, wow.
Now. Cut!
Now you want to get nuts? Come on! Let's get nuts.
So, have you always been... I have a question for you. Mm-hmm. I have many questions. But my first question is, have you always been a Batman fan?
I think Batman is one of the coolest superheroes.
Is he your favorite superhero or like...
If I'm being completely honest, I think Spider-Man's my favorite, the original. I think he's just super romantic, and that's what gets me. I'm a hopeless romantic, but Batman is just cool. He's a badass character, and I understand why he does what he does. I don't blame the dude.
See, I like Batman. He's dark, he's gritty, and then there's also Spider-Man. I love the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man as well.
My favorite.
Yeah, mine too. It's kind of funny because he came across as dorky, and you're like, but he was so good. Like, he was wicked. I don't know. There's something about those movies that just brings nostalgia, but it was, I don't know. For me, it's my favorite Spider-Man movie. Okay, now, we just watched Batman 1989, which are you wondering why I call it 1989?
Yeah, tell me. I have no idea.
Because there's so many Batman movies. So am I gonna call every single Batman film like it's kind of hard. Like, is it Batman Begins? I guess, but like a Batman just came out in 2022, which we saw.
Yeah. Loved it.
Yeah, so good. And like I feel like I have to like distinguish what's the difference between the different Batman films. So that's why I'm just calling it Batman 89. Okay. Just to start things off. So we watched Batman 89. It celebrated 35 years. Mm-hmm. Did you know that?
I had no idea.
Until I told you?
No. I had no idea that there was a Batman movie the same age as I am.
Yeah. So it came out 1989, and how old was I? I was a year old at this point. So there's a big thing called Batmania that occurred, and like it pretty much took over the summer. Mm-hmm. We watched Icons on Earth. We know that like it was a really big deal to have Jack Nicholson come in as playing the Joker, and then Michael Keaton coming in, but there was like a lot of backlash because he played Mr. Mom, and fans were ticked off about it. So my first question is going into this film, because it took the world by storm, broke records, and hands down probably one of the most iconic films, especially in the superhero genre, ever made. What was your initial thoughts?
Initial thoughts. Great question. So, at first I thought, holy heck, Batman. There is a movie literally that came out a month after I was born. So, had no idea. Number two, I never watched this film. It was my first time ever watching it. And I think unconsciously I had this idea in my head that how could any movie top the more recent Batman movie films? So as I was watching this, I found myself giggling a lot because it's a little cheesy. It's dark, but not. It still had some light humor in it in comparison to Robert Pattinson's Batman, where it's grungy, it's dark, year one Batman, and I didn't know what to expect from this film. Like I said, I found myself giggling quite a bit watching it. And I remember saying out loud to you, what's so good about this? I don't get it. And then I had to put on the lenses of Vic. This was made in 1989. Think of the effects, the makeup that was done, the background that was created, and then I understood why this movie was pretty epic for its time.
Yeah, so I said I'd reserve some comments because I was like, she was talking out loud during the movie, and I'm like, I'm not going to say anything to you because I'm going to say it here on the cast, so it's fresh. So 1989, like these films, I would consider for a Batman film, especially for a superhero film, dark. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah.
But there was lines that you thought were kind of cheesy, or it was more with the Vicky Vale scenes, right?
Oh, yeah, totally.
Like, which I thought were really good. It was just, what was your, I guess, like...
Their relationship was so quick. I'm like, how does this chick fall for this man as quickly as she did? Like, stage 5 clinker. But then I also think, when we met and we went on our first date, I was like, this is the man that I'm going to marry.
And I knew right away.
So I kind of get it. And then you have this mysterious man, and you want to be able to crack him, and he's showing you a vulnerable side of him that he probably doesn't show to anyone else besides his butler.
Yep.
So, you know, when you have someone who's opening up to you, even having the door slightly cracked, there's something beautiful about that.
He's a man of mystery too, and then all of a sudden he's just like, he lets you in, you're like, huh,
I'm intrigued. I want more.
So Michael Keaton, it was his decision because there was actually a lot more Bruce Wayne lines, and he was like, Batman doesn't talk that much. Did you notice that? Like, he did a lot more, kind of like Pattinson. He didn't do a lot of talking.
Yeah,
he just
more
did a lot
observing, right?
Yes.
And then responding.
Yeah. And it had a lot to do with the eyes, which I thought was awesome. I thought that in terms of well, okay, let's get into, there's a couple characters. So, thoughts on, first, Michael Keaton, who, if you don't know, his background came from comedy. What was your thoughts of him as Batman?
Ooh, I thought he did an excellent job. I think he really honed into the character. I think he was able to be dark. I think that he was able to show the side of him where he was a bit soft.
So he's
with
showing
Vicky Vale.
Vale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Now, and he was pretty good, right? Like, he was able to flip the switch between Batman and then Bruce Wayne, right? Where Bruce Wayne was kind of seen as, like, remember that casino scene where he's like, give Knox $1,000, like, just kind of seen like an aloof. Remember? And then when Vicky Vale went out to him and she's like, do you know what Bruce Wayne is? And he's like, I don't know. And, you know what I mean? Like, he's just kind of acting like as an aloof. And then really, you know that Bruce Wayne has tabs on everyone and knows exactly what's going on. Jack Nicholson as Joker. So actually, tell everyone what your initial thoughts were, and then I explain something to you, and you're like, oh, okay.
I get it, yeah. So it was a scene where Joker didn't have his typical white face and broad smile, the red lipstick on, and he was acting as Joker, Jack Nicholson.
But he was Jack Napier at that point, right?
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
So I was like, what's so great about his character? I was like very unimpressed.
Keep in mind, she was so used to Heath Ledger.
Oh my God. And that's number one. Yeah. He was fantastic. But, I was like, what is so great? I don't get it. Like, to me, he wasn't really playing the Joker role that I knew of the newer Jokers playing. And so, yeah.
Then he came, then when he had the makeup on, then what did you think?
I was like, okay, I get it. Here is the insane clown. We know the Joker who really uses terror. So he terrorizes his victims while using a sense of humor. So it's like, here is a gift box and there's a mask in there and it's like, you better use this ASAP. You're going to need it. And then all of a sudden smoke was everywhere and Vicky's like terrified, like what is happening? And
what was he doing? He was literally like totally vandalizing the entire place. And
dancing.
What?
Yeah, they had a boom box going, like
Lawrence. Yeah,
just chilled out, like having fun being the villain that he is.
Yeah, and but then there's times where I think the question was where like he had the I guess he was Jack Napier makeup on, but he's already transformed into the Joker. She was like, well, like, why is he being so serious? Like, shit, I don't get it. And I'm like, right now he's portraying himself as Jack Napier, not Joker. But I think as Joker, he nailed it. I only have one gripe, just one, and I think Jack is number 2 for me. I think Ledger's still number 1.
1000%.
But the laugh was great. I thought that he's got so many memorable lines. The one I keep saying to you, the most recent, like, hey, so we just watched it yesterday on its 35th anniversary. So I keep saying, "Hey, Zeus Marumba." Yeah. Just the lines that Jack has, or just like he's like, Bob Gunn, boom. Like the level of unpredictability. That's Joker. And then like even like the goons, like what did you admire, by the way, that you said out loud about it was the car chase.
Oh, the Batmobile.
Yes, what were your thoughts on the Batmobile and Joker mobiles?
Oh, the Joker mobile was so cool. I was like, okay, this is totally a Joker vehicle with like, was it a green roof? I can't remember. Yeah, green roof, purple body. I was like, I remember seeing, I don't know if it was a Hot Wheels car. Was it Hot Wheels? Do you remember? I can't remember what it was, but I remember seeing it as a toy car when I was younger. I was like, oh my God, like this is iconic. And then the Batmobile was just so freaking cool for its time.
For its
my opinion.
Hold on.
No. Even today, you're right. Even today, if something showed up like that, I would still think it's pretty badass.
Okay, so you compare
Yeah.
Christian Bale's Batmobile, the Tumbler from Dark Knight, Pattinson's muscle car, and then Batman 89. What's your number one? I'm going to even throw in Adam West's Batmobile. So what would be, I guess, like your 1, 2, 3, 4 if you want? I know it's kind of hard to remember, but like...
Yeah. Honestly, I think I'm a classic girl through and through. The modern ones are totally dope. However, I love the Adam West one, and I love the Batman 89.
And then the muscle car from Pattinson's.
It's just cool. Like, if you're asking me to get in that whip with you, I'm getting in there. Like, hands down.
Yeah, that was American Muscle. I don't know. I like 89, number one. Pattinson's, because, big car guy. So, muscle car. I like the Adam West one. Right. And then the Tumbler. But Tumbler is like my number 4. I know that there's more, but like, just I think those are our top 4, for sure. But I think 1 and 2 is just, they're solid, right? Like they're not budging. 1 and 2 is our top 2. Actually, let me get into another question. Okay, and then Vicky Vale. So Kim Basinger, she came in. Sean Young was originally supposed to play the role. She got injured, and then last second they got Kim Basinger to come in, play Vicky Vale. How do you think she did?
Oh, number one, I just have to say she's absolutely stunning. Just gorgeous girl. I thought she did a really phenomenal job.
Yeah?
Yeah. From being a reporter and then being enthusiastic as to figuring out who the Batman is and reporting it.
And then the pictures,
Yeah, she was so passionate about it. But then...
There was one scene that you were like, oh, this isn't going to fly. Do you remember?
Oh, God, yeah.
Okay.
If you don't know, you need to know. You never, ever ask a woman her weight. And Batman totally asked Vicky how much she weighed.
But, yeah, and she goes 108. But, like, in his defense, he had to save her life.
Not only that,
but he had to save her life.
He saves her life and then goes to her... You were more than 108 or something along those lines.
And she's like, yeah, right. But what did you do right after?
I laughed, of course. But I'm like, that would never fly today.
Yeah, maybe not. But in all honesty, I feel like she has to hold on to the grapple gun. And there's 2 people on it. She has to...
Safety, right? That's
safety
why he's
first.
asking safety first.
That's funny, though. I know. But that's been a rule for... ever since I was a kid. You never, ever ask a girl for a weight. And then, I don't know. But it's funny, the thought process of how, like, wording has changed. And it's like, how... I wonder if that would go into a film now. For me, I still never think about it. But from a female's perspective, it's just like, she was just, oh, God, that would not fly.
No, it's just inappropriate. But I mean, it's like getting on a roller coaster. There's a height requirement and a weight requirement sometimes, right? So I can totally get it.
Yeah. Now, when it comes to performances, we talked about how good they were. I think we could say that the cast was selected perfectly.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Jack Nicholson was an awesome get. Michael Keaton, he's so good. He just nails it as Bruce Wayne and Batman. So okay, now your thoughts on the Batsuit itself.
Ooh, I loved it. I thought that it showed power and authority. It showed someone who was serious about getting the job done.
Yep. It was funny because this is the suit where he couldn't turn his head. You notice that?
Yeah. The poor guy, it was all in his eyes that he was dictating his movements.
Yeah, and moving with his shoulders. Now, what would you say?
Yeah, no, I was just going to say his gold belt
stands
out, and then his cape when he's flying over where he's, rising. It's that scene with the mugglers.
Yeah, those
and
thugs, like those, yeah.
Yeah, that's right, those thugs. And he rises up, and all you see is him expanding his arms, and you see his cape stretched out, the outline of the bat, and I'm like, that is dope.
Yeah, with the smoke right behind, like that's actually one of the most iconic scenes of or introductions to, how they introduce themselves as I'm Batman, or even Pattinson's, which is fresh in your mind, where it's I'm Vengeance, right? So if you're actually speaking of that, in terms of that scene itself, do you think that could, in terms of because you've watched the Dark Knight Trilogy and the Batman, in terms of the introduction for Batman, what do you think? Yay?
Yay. It gets 2 thumbs up for me for
Yeah.
that time. Definitely.
I loved it.
It was dark. You're right. The 89 movie is still dark. It's just that there is some lightness in it with the Joker in some ways.
Yeah.
And then he's all twisted and psychotic at the same time.
Yeah.
So
But it has that 89 feel, but it's also
Yeah.
timeless at the same time. Even the clothes that they wear, that family in the beginning, they're dressed like they're in the 60s. No? They have is it the fedora hat? Dressed in a suit.
the fur coat, the
Yeah,
big pearls. Yeah.
And they kind of trick you because you right away thought that was going to be the Wayne murder. But it wasn't. Another surprise that you thought, and I'm curious what you thought, because you were used to Joe Chill being the guy who kills Batman's parents, but it turns out it's the Joker. What was your initial thoughts on that?
It's I like this. This makes sense why the Joker and Batman are so invested into one another.
Yeah.
I was I actually like this storyline because now it's personal.
And not only that, because they say, well, Joker goes, "You made me, remember?" And then Batman responds, "I made you, you made me." Because really, initially, it was Jack Napier killed Batman's parents, or Bruce Wayne's parents. And then it was Jack Napier who fell into the vat of chemicals. And then you see the hand rise, and all of a sudden, there's Joker, right? And that was a nice little origin story, if there had to be an origin story for Joker, because technically it's multiple choice. We really don't know. But in that movie, that's how he originated. I liked it.
Yeah, I liked it too.
Yeah, very believable.
Yeah.
Okay, now, got a couple of serious questions here. Okay, and you're looking at my
Lay on
screen.
me.
So,
Gosh.
we got the thoughts on the Batmobile, thoughts on the Batsuit, critiques of the film. Do you have any? Oh, she's giving me a look. Okay, so we're gonna move on to the next question. And the first thing I'll ask is because here's the thing. I grew up on this film. So, like, let's look at favorite scenes. I'll give you my favorite scene because there's multiple. There's, like, the I'm Batman. We got Harley, our little poochie here, who is wanting a walk. And
oh boy, we just said the W word.
Yeah, I know.
She's going to want us to move as quickly as the Batmobile.
Yeah. So speaking of Batmobile, okay, so there's a couple of favorite scenes, at least for me, that I got. One of which I would say is that where Batman kind of comes through the glass.
Yeah.
So favorite scenes, I'm going to ask you is like, what's your favorite scene? Mine would be, it's hard to choose because there's Batman coming through the glass to save Vicky when they're in that art museum. And he hops down, grabs her, and he's like, hold on. And then Joker goes, where does he get those wonderful toys? But then you get the introduction of the Batmobile.
Yeah.
Right? And then there's that little fight scene. There's also, one that's not often mentioned is, so the Batmobile is going through Axis Chemicals, and he drops a couple of, like, little grenades, it looks like. And then you see all these fire and explosives. Remember, you actually made a...
Yeah, that was actually one of my favorite scenes. So I'm glad you brought it up. And you're being as descriptive as you are.
Yeah.
Because you're great at that. That, for me, I remember saying to you, like, oh my. Like, look at all the special effects that they had here.
There wasn't even CGI at that time.
No.
Which is wild.
Which blows my mind away. Because I thought this actually is... believable for its time. Like, that must have been a bat-ass scene for its time, because I thought today it was still pretty cool.
I feel like that would have been CGI'd nowadays.
100%.
Yeah.
And then another favorite part of mine, which I don't know if this is popular or not, but I actually like the church scene where Joker is trying to romanticize a little bit with Vicky, and he's dancing with her, and she's like this rag doll, like, oh my god, like, I don't want to be here, how do I escape this, I'm scared to death, but like, she's not fighting him, she's going along with it. And then the love of her life, she sees Batman in the background, and all of a sudden, without them even saying anything, they start working together, and she's like, okay, I'm safe, he's got my back. And so she's playing Joker, and then all of a sudden it almost looks like she's going down.
Yeah, I didn't know what to think of that.
I was like,
See, that was my critique of the film.
right.
So this is my one critique with Joker, because it's like, he's gonna get swooned by a female. Like, I feel like nothing's gonna
Sway.
him. Yeah, sway.
Yeah, sway.
Where it's just like he just kind of pauses and he's like, "Oh my god, like I love this girl, and now I'm being persuaded, and I'm losing complete
Control and
yeah, not complete control, but like within that scene where he's just like he just has like a little
moment of weakness, right?
And I just feel like that's my only. I love this film,
yeah.
But that was my only gripe. But that was your favorite scene?
Not that one action, but like him dancing with her, and then Vicky seeing Batman in the background, like, okay, this man's got my back, like, I'm gonna be okay, we're gonna get Joker now. And so here she is going down, and then boom, up pops Batman,
and he asks, have you ever danced with the devil in the pale moonlight? Yeah. And then boom, just starts punching him, going crazy.
And how poetic is that? Because that's how Joker opened up his line with Batman.
Yeah, with Bruce.
In the earlier scenes with Bruce Wayne.
Yeah. Unbelievable. Then there was also Descent into Mystery. So I said to Victoria here, I was like, okay, this is my favorite Batmobile scene. It's like a minute long. Actually, a minute 35, where he's going through the roads with all the leaves. Remember? And then she's like, where are we going? And he just kind of turns on that light, so she kind of gets blinded by it. Like, that Batmobile scene, badass.
It's even how they recorded.
Yeah, how they filmed
scenes,
it.
How they filmed it, yeah. it's like, okay, like a low profile here, the ruffling of the leaves, and
I swear to God, I still feel like every time I go through leaves, I feel like I'm driving the Batmobile. If I see leaves just like flying up into the air as I drive past them.
driving at nighttime in the fall is
Yeah.
never going to be the same for me after watching this film.
I know. See, so good. So nostalgic. And it was wild. So I'm going to show you a picture. Mm-hmm. And this is how they advertised the movie, with just a simple movie poster, and talk about genius marketing. So this was the movie poster, and it was just like that.
Ooh.
Talk about genius.
So that, to me, leaves a mystery. Like, oh my God.
But you know what it is, right?
Need to watch it. Yeah. Because all you see is the bat symbol.
Yeah.
And you're like, that's all. No words are needed. You know it's Batman.
Yeah, I thought so too. I like legendary, and I have the VHS, which I brought home. I still got to show her the Diet Coke commercial, because that's just, you don't know what I'm talking about, but I have to show you it. You're probably thinking, what kind of a husband am I?
I'm smiling ear to ear like, oh, this man is a mystery man. Like, keep it coming. Let's unravel it all.
Okay, so how would you rate this film out of 10?
Oh, I would give it a 10 out of 10. And I know that sounds... It's not many movies that I would give a solid 10 out of 10, but I felt like it kept your interest. There was a great storyline behind it. I absolutely loved the costumes. I loved the makeup. I loved the character development. There was elements of surprise as somebody who watched it for the first time 35 years later. And yeah, like, there was no real complaints about it, because I know I said it was kind of cheesy, but when you think about it being made in 1989, you expect that level of acting to some degree.
The acting, I thought, was top notch, though.
Oh, like, it was.
Like, that,
but
that
it was
transcended.
goofy at sometimes, and I'm just like, oh no, like, this is so cheesy.
Yeah.
But that's what makes it so classic.
Like, I think when you look at, like, the Schumacher films, which is, like, George Clooney. Have you ever watched those ones? Batman and Robin? Oh, God.
No, I don't know.
I mean, it's fine for its time, but, like, I can't stand him. But that is cheesy. This is dark. Like, and this is, like, one of the most important Batman films. It is the most important Batman film ever made, because then you don't get the rest, right? Like, this was something that people dismissed for 10 years. So Michael Uslan, he's an executive producer. This guy bought the rights at the age of 28 or 29 and tried to bring it to all these companies, like film companies. And Warner Brothers was like, okay, we'll make this film.
It's insane that he had to do such a hard sell for it.
And now Batman's Teflon. Like, this guy can't be touched. Like,
right.
Any movie that comes out with Batman, and it's at least when it's just Batman, like a just solo film, he's going to do well. Now, I'd rank this one out of 10. I would say a 9 out of 10. And that's only because it's so hard. Like, this is in my top 3. So speaking of tops, I'm going to make you choose your favorite Batman film of all time. Now that you've seen the big ones, so there's like Batman Begins, right. But I'm going to make it, because you like the Dark Knight out of Batman Begins, the Dark Knight and Dark Knight. Okay, so there's Batman 89. You've seen the Batman most recently, and the Dark Knight. Which one is your favorite?
Oh my God, this is so tough, because I love them all for such different reasons. Okay, so I'm going to have to say my number 1 is, oh gosh, how can I choose? The Dark Knight might be my number 1, followed by the Batman, and then Batman 89.
It's hard, because listen,
it's so hard.
Yeah.
How can I choose? Like, how dare you put me in this position?
It's tough. So See, right now, like, and I flip-flop every time. I think I'm choosing the Batman.
I knew it because I would want to choose the Batman. It was so freaking good.
Yeah, and then the Penguin is Victoria's pumped out.
I cannot wait for the Penguin series to come out.
And then Batman 89 number 3. But those are my top 3.
Right. You know what? Like today, I say the Dark Knight because I absolutely love Joker. But the Batman, I thought, wow, what's the villain's name again?
Oh, Riddler?
Riddler was freaking awesome in that movie. Like, I think the Riddler deserves its own, like, TV series or movie just to see the psychological background. Like, what is his story? Like, give me more of that.
He could easily have like his own show, just like Penguin is.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
sign me up. I'm watching it.
Yeah. It's got a nice element of darkness, but it's the tone that Matt Reeves sets. Anyway, Batman 89. Here's a fun fact.
Let's hear
Speaking about it, I just learned this one today. That the director, Tim Burton, was 29 years old when he was directing Batman 89.
Creative genius.
Yeah, I'm 36, and I can't even imagine like directing any sort of a short film. But this guy was 29 and probably making one of the biggest movies of all time. Crazy.
Oh my god.
Talk about like, and people were up in arms when he picked Michael Keaton, but this guy knew what he was doing. Okay, so we are done our first podcast. You're done your first podcast. Sorry, not we. You. What'd you feel? So Victoria was nervous going in. She's smiling right now. You were actually pretty natural.
No, I don't think so. So I apologize to everybody in advance. But I think Dom wanted a fresh take on my initial thoughts on this film, and it was a perfect day yesterday, and the weather wasn't that great. It was kind of rainy.
And
it was the 35th anniversary, so it's like how fitting that we watched the Batman 89 movie, and then we had to record the next day, so it's like fresh in my mind because my memory freaking sucks. But yeah, you did a really great job, and you're a natural and you're in your element.
This is new to me. So
oh my. I could watch you like a fly on the wall.
Anyway, so I thought that you crushed it, by the way. So, and an excellent job, babe. So, are you down to do more podcasts? We're going to do the Penguin together.
I mean, I don't know if anyone wants to hear that.
Yeah.
Hear me again, but I'm
will.
Totally down.
100%.
After watching the Penguin.
Yeah. No, the Penguin, you're down. Each episode, we're going to do a review.
Whoa.
She's giving me a look like, oh, God, look at the pressure. We're going to do a review. It'll be fine. It'll be quick.
Okay.
But that's it for today's podcast. Where you can follow us is on X/Twitter at Beyond Bad Signal. And email. If you have comments, concerns, questions, feel free to shoot me an email at beyondthebadsignal@gmail.com and rate and review the show. But at this point forward, we are wrapping up. The podcast is done. So this is Beyond the Bad Signal signing off.
He gave us a signal. I thought champagne would be in order, ma'am.
Hi, Alfred.
Mr. Wayne told me to tell you that he might be a little late.
I'm not a bit surprised.